Ready to go?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we have Cassie Evans returning with a special guest. You want to introduce us?
This is Brody. Brody, do you want to say hi?
Aww.
I'm setting up now.
Oh, well, we had a plan, but now this is all we're doing for the full episode.
I think
So
he's okay with that.
Brody will sing on command. Is that?
Yeah, he
Oh,
sings
that's
on
amazing.
command. It was really good during lockdown because we just went out into the wilderness and just screamed into the winds together, and that really helped.
Oh, I love it so much. Okay, well, so I feel like I've already gotten more than I could have hoped for out of this episode. So I know that you are struggling a little bit with Wi-Fi right now. So just fair warning to the chat, we may run into a Wi-Fi wall and have to reschedule, but we're hoping that it pulls through for us. Now, let's see, what should we start? What we should start is we should start by introducing you. For anybody who hasn't seen you, you've been on the show now before, but let's do a little bit of a background. And also, things have changed since the last time you were on. You're now working at Greensock, which is incredible. But yeah, why don't you give us a bit of a background and a status update, maybe?
Yeah, so working at Greensock, it's great. My partner constantly is just like staring at what I'm doing on my screen and just shaking his head and walking away in dismay because he's like, how is this your job? So I just make lots of fun demos and I get to help people learn, which is basically what I was doing as a side gig before. I was just doing it in my spare time, and now I get to do it for my job. So pretty good.
I'm so happy for you. I think it's such a good experience when you get that opportunity. I very much feel the same way about my job, where it's like, how do I get to screw around on the internet with people I like, and somehow that's the thing that I make a living doing. Yeah, so I'm thrilled to have you back on the show because the work that you do is always super engaging, super interesting to see. Just really, really incredible stuff. And it's also something that I think a lot of people find to be just out of reach. Like, I think a lot of us, when we work in front end, we look at animation and we go, oh, that's what an animator does. And I know that I have felt that kind of like, oh, I wish I had enough time to learn how to be an animator. I wish I had the whatever quality I want to assign to myself. I'm not creative. I'm not an animator. I'm not capable. I don't have time. And I just always kind of put this wall up. But what I love about your work is that you always manage to remind me and everybody else in your vicinity that, like, this animation stuff is not limited. It's not as much of a specialized skill in terms of, like, you don't have to know tons and tons of deep programming things. You really just have to be willing to play and experiment and learn what I continually find is a pretty friendly API from Greensock.
Yeah, like I found that when I was starting to learn how to code, because I was coming at it from like a graphic design and motion graphics background, and a lot of the examples and tutorials that I found, especially when I started learning JavaScript, they were just very much like, do this and then some data gets logged out in the console. And I got really stuck transitioning over from CSS to JavaScript because it just wasn't visual enough for me. And then I discovered SVG and Greensock, and I was like, oh, I can move things around with JavaScript. And it suddenly like unlocked this whole world, just because I was kind of doing something more visual and creative. So I really, that's like my main goal, is to help other people have that aha moment.
And it is something that you've done so well. I know that, I think I have specifically screamed aha at the top of my lungs multiple times while in conversation with you, which is always wonderful. And you've also you've got a good quality of like making this stuff fun and approachable. Like Adrian is in the chat asking right now, you did a sticker that said "Get Wrecked," which is incredible. And he's actually asking if there's a link to buy those. Which
I've got a ton of them left. I'll make sure that I can send some of them out. I basically just made that because I thought the pun in my head one evening and I thought it was really funny, and then I was like, I've got to have a sticker.
That is just a top tier pun.
Yeah.
But so let's talk a little bit about, I think animation is one of those things that I've never met somebody who didn't want to be able to do it. Like we all look at it and go, oh, it'd be so cool. But a lot of times I'll talk myself out of it. And what I'm curious about is, how have you seen animation impact things in a, like, I mean, obviously it's fun, but how does it impact things in like a business sense or like a user experience sense? That we can maybe tie it to our jobs as a way of learning it.
I think I froze for a little bit there. Am I back again?
Oh, you just caught up. Okay, yeah. Did you hear the question?
Yeah.
Or
I did, and then you went a little bit robotic just for the very
okay,
end.
all right.
But yeah, so I mean, I've been really lucky to work on a lot of like event sites, and a lot of sites where like the visual impact is the most important thing. And I think that there's always this question of like, should animation, like, should you animate everything? Like, when is too much animation? And I think that there's a huge difference between kind of corporate business sites, and obviously like your kind of award sites or event sites. And I think that animation can really help with wayfinding. Like, small animations can help explain an interface. Val Head's written a really, really great book. I can't remember the name of the book off my head, but yeah, like, she's written a great book about all of that, and she's also written loads of blog posts. Whereas if you're doing a portfolio site, you can go a little bit more crazy, I think.
Well, and I think the other interesting thing that I've seen is that a lot of animation, we notice the ones that people talk about are the big ones. You'll see the footer of your site where the eyes of the animation follow the mouse around, and it's like this really cool interactive experience. Or you'll use I don't know if Tunnelbear still does this, but their login screen had a bear that would kind of watch you type your username, and then when you went to type your password, it would cover its eyes, and it's these really big animated moments. But there's also so many tiny animations that when you look at a really polished, even super corporate API, like Stripe, I think is a great example of doing this
really well. Yeah.
And so those little animations, like maybe we don't get a chance in a super corporate site to do like a big one, like a big fun, like total illustration, but there's lots of opportunities for these micro illustrations that I don't know, it just feels good to use that, right? Instead of popping or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like good animation goes unnoticed. That sort of animation, when you're talking about UI animation on like serious, like software as a service, like business sites, people will be like, oh no, I don't like animation. But if you actually strip all the animation out of an interface, you'll notice like it will feel clunkier. And there's all sorts of ways that animation can help give context about like an action that you've taken. So like, there's been loads of times in my life where I've clicked a download button, or I've clicked like a send form button or something, and then nothing happens. And you have to sit there and then like process, like, is what's going on? Like, do I need to click it again? And if you've got an animation that's like, oh, sending, just like a simple animation like that, it can reduce the cognitive load off the user. So it's really useful.
Yeah. And so what we're going to be doing today, I think, is probably going to be more on the like silly and fun
Yeah.
side. But I'm going to make an assumption here that a lot of the techniques we're going to learn will be valuable in these smaller animations as well.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna play with like a super secret new GSAP thing today. So we actually plan to have the launch out by now, and then it's coming in the next couple of weeks. And I've managed to twist Jack's
Wait,
arms to let me.
does this
We're gonna,
mean that we're getting a Learn with Jason exclusive here?
yes, you are Learn with Jason exclusive.
Ooh. All right, chat. You're going to see it here first, so don't go anywhere. Okay, so that's really exciting. I mean, I'm really pumped about this. I feel like it's going to be great. And I saw a question in the chat from GJ1118 about whether we're going to be seeing real examples. Absolutely, we're going to switch over and do some desktop stuff here in just a minute. But I have a couple more questions before we go and do that. Haven't seen that one in a while. But yeah, so we are I think in really good shape here to kind of just I want to talk a little bit about, like, I saw a question, how do I convince my client who runs a software as a service app to spend the money on animation, or likewise, if I work at a company, how do I convince management that this is the right kind of thing to prioritize? Have you found any good techniques or metrics or things that can help make that business case for people who haven't seen the value yet?
I think that it's one of those things like accessibility. It's difficult to get sign off unless you've kind of got that ingrained in your culture from the beginning. So I would say like animation is. Oh wait, I think I've frozen again. Have I frozen?
Nope, you're still here.
No, I'm still here. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's hard. Sorry, I'm hearing an echo. It's really awkward.
Not. You shouldn't be. I'm not hearing it, so I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay, I'll carry on talking. I think it's fine. Okay. Yeah, so I was saying about accessibility. Yeah, technology sucks sometimes. If you've got people like higher up or earlier on in the process that are thinking about it, it's a lot easier. So I tried to get designers where I worked to think about animation early on, and we'd have conversations early on, which that definitely helped. Um, and then I think you just get feedback from your users. I'm not really good with metrics and stuff, but Sarah Drasner wrote a really good article about it's called In Defense of a Fussy Website. And it's such a good article because she talks about it's the engagement metrics that are the most important, like people enjoying spending time on your site and staying on your site. So yeah, I'm not really I don't do tracking stuff and I don't really know much about it, so I wouldn't be the one to ask about yeah, like how to get the data to show people, but I think that you can tell when people are enjoying something.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the things that I've noticed too, is like I'm always looking for, like, what I would call the intangible quality factor, and you hear people talk about it even if they can't articulate it. And so a lot of what I've seen is that when people talk about certain brands, they will mention, like, it just feels solid, or I love using it, or this is my favorite site to look at, or I always show this to my clients as an example. Any one of those statements is an appreciation of some underlying goodness of that site. And typically when you start poking at them, a few things become really clear. Like, they've spent the time on the UX. That usually means they've got little micro interactions, and something that makes you want to do the next step, like the arrow moves a little bit and draws your eye and you can see what's going on, or like the forms kind of subtly shift, like if you put in your credit card number, it animates from a blank card to a Visa or whatever kind of card you put in.
Mhm.
And just that little stuff that when you use it, you go, dang, this is thoughtful. This was carefully made. And it makes you trust that site more. And I'm more likely to go back. I'm more likely to default to that payment method over the one that made me go through 18 hoops and a bunch of extra. You end up on like, what is it? You go to the site and then you click a thing and then you put in your credit card information and then it opens up a pop-up that's like, we're going to verified by Visa. And then it like closed and it's like, do not close this or you'll get charged twice. I'm like, oh, I don't ever want to use that. I feel like I'm going to break it and double purchase and all these bad things. Whereas, you use Shop Pay, you use Stripe, something like that. And it's like click, feels good, quick animation. And oh, you want to track that with your phone? Great. Like it just feels solid, right?
I think there's some things that make animation a little bit easier to get sign off than accessibility stuff, sadly, is that animation is shiny. You can show cool examples and you can take like the Stripe website, like good corporate animated websites out there, you can take those websites and show people and they'll usually get wowed by them. And also everyone's aware of engagement nowadays and animation really helps with engagement. Like I recently did a site and it was for the it was a site to raise money and awareness of how bad a state the New Orleans sewers were in. No, the water system. Sorry, not sewers. Not quite that bad. So people just had to read this huge long page full of information about water pipes, which is super boring. But we did loads of animation. We did these little animated pipes that ran down the page and like water drops and stuff. And it made people read through all of the information, scroll down the page, and then like give their details at the end. So stuff like that can help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then the chat's chiming in with some good points. That it creates a mood on a site. It can, like a corporate site can feel very stodgy and static and inflexible, and just a little bit of animation can make it feel fun. I think an example of a company going really far with that is like Tunnelbear. If you go through any of the flows on Tunnelbear, you find these utterly ridiculous animations. Like there's this, I think after you purchase, there's a screen where they just throw fish at a bear and it like never stops throwing fish, so it'll like fill the screen up, and just all these fun little things, right? Or you can do it really subtle, like if you go to Betterment, which is a investment app. When you go through different pages, there's like subtle little parallax animations or like a loading screen that's just a nice animation, and it makes it feel more approachable. Oh no, we've got a frozen Cassie.
I'm back.
You're back. Okay. All right.
So stressful.
This is going to be super fun because we're also going to learn how much I've retained from previous calls when we actually get to the coding, which maybe, speaking of which, it could be time. Let's go ahead and jump over. And all right, I'm going to go camera 2.
It was apparently a good smiling breeze. I'm glad
yes,
it was
not like you weren't pulling like, face.
Yeah.
All right, so before we get started with coding, let me do a quick shout out to the sponsors. We've got White Coat Captioning here. Rachel's here with us today doing all the live captioning. That is made possible through our sponsors, Netlify, NX, and Backlight. Thank you very much for kicking in. That helps cover the cost of creating the show and means a lot to me. Also, chat, thank you all for the subs. I saw Jimena. I saw Aiden got a gift sub. I'm Frank Stallone saying what's up. Ben D. Myers is gifting subs and subbing himself. So thank you all very much. That also goes toward covering the cost of the show and making things great. Thank you all so much for being here. Means a lot. Also, we're talking to Cassie today. Make sure you go give Cassie a follow on the old Twitter. And if you want to follow along with those live captions, those are on the homepage of the site. So learnwithjason.dev. Hey, so also, I don't know if you are all following, but I recently did an experiment where I was trying to remember all the things that I've learned from Cassie and Sarah Drasner about animation. And I tried to make this little like exploding nav thing. I'm thinking about redesigning my site. And so I'm looking at like, can I make this work? Right. And it turns out I could not, but Cassie could. So I got some excellent tips on how to make it actually function and work cross-browser. This particular pen, it will only work on Edge and Chrome. I think it broke on Firefox and had some issues on mobile Safari and things like that. But yeah, so this is kind of like one way that we can animate, and this is like kind of interactive. It's built on scroll trigger, which we're going to be talking about today. So as you scroll the page, the elements move, and I did a really lightweight version of this. I just kind of like copy pasted some stuff, and it did what I wanted. So I was like, great, I don't need to change this anymore. But what we're going to be doing today is going
to the best way.
So today you sent me this, which is, I'm already just thrilled by the like, this is incredible.
It's a Nyan corgi.
You know, I will say every time you have come on the show, you've created a piece of lore for the show. Like, I can't even tell you how much like curly boy, square boy mileage we get on this show. Like, it led to somebody even created a t-shirt, shirt design out of it. Like it, and so and something tells me the Nyan Corgi is gonna continue here.
I love how everyone was like, "Oh, Cassie's so funny with the curly boys and the square boys." Like I was being funny and just didn't know. I just didn't know what they were actually called. I still don't.
I mean, I think we made it canon that they are actually called square boys and curly boys. That's canon now.
Yes.
Okay. So with all of the setup here, I think everybody's really excited to see this in action. So why don't we jump right in, and maybe you can set the stage for us, and just I don't know, maybe first and foremost, what do you want to create today?
So I originally just wanted to play with scroll trigger observe, which is a new thing that we've got coming up in the next release. And then I kind of woke up this morning at like 5 a.m. and I was like, we can do hit tests. We could make it a game. So I think we're going to make it a game now, like a little game.
I'm so excited. And there was a poll. You put a poll up, which I think foreshadows what we're in for today. So let's dive in here. Okay, what do rainbow corgis eat? And the options were hot dog, bones, lollipops, and other. And it looks like lollipops won, despite me clearly voting for hot dogs, and by which I mean sandwiches. But
and Phil Hawksworth recommending beef Skittles.
I cannot. The whole UK crew really let me down today with that discourse of like, where did this go? Hold on. Look, everybody, please, everybody go dogpile on Phil and tell him that this was a terrible idea.
Excellent.
Okay. So we've got, just to kind of assess here, we have this really fun SVG, and if I collapse this SVG, that's the whole thing. So this whole thing is an SVG, and then I'm assuming that the background is these blue sparkles. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got a little corgi in a Pop-Tart, and then there's just some like very basic styling, and then we're gonna have a little play and make him interactive.
I love it. All right, so what's the first thing I should do?
Right. First thing, what should we do first? Let's get like a little animation.
Okay.
Let's just kind of, we'll do like some work. What do you call it? Before you do an exercise, what do you do? Warm-ups.
Warm-ups.
You can tell how much I do exercise. We'll do some animation warm-ups.
Okay. So, all right.
Have I frozen again?
Nope, you're here.
Stop freezing. Come on. I'm here. I was begging that my phone gets us through this. So yeah, let's do some background animation first. So we're just going to move the background along so that it looks like our little corgi is like bouncing along in the sky. So we're going to do a GSAP tween, and we're going to say GSAP 2.
Oh, GSAP 2. Okay.
Yeah, GSAP.2. And GSAP 2 is saying like, hey, Greensock, animate to these values. There's also from and from to, which is saying from those values or from those values to these values. So let's just move it along the x-axis a bit. So we're going to move the background. You can just pass in a target with the background ID. I think it just had a class of BG.
ID of BG. BG. And then it's an object, right?
Yeah, it's an object. And then we're going to say, like, let's move it along the x-axis by half of its width. And now that would usually involve like a calculate. You look at you trying to do a calculation. That's great.
Yeah.
So you can use functional values in GSAP, which Jason has remembered. But we can also use X%. So we can just say X% minus 50. And then it will just move it.
When you say X%, like
that's the property. So instead of X, we're saying X%.
Oh, like I do it like this.
Yeah.
Minus 50.
Minus 50. And then if we play that, oh, you might need to press run. Way. So it's just moving along by 50%.
Yeah.
And then we can just loop that. So if we say repeat -1, then it will loop it infinitely. I also really hope that you've got one of the nice new Macs, because we're going to do a lot of animation. Good. So yeah, repeat -1.
I gotta run it.
And you have no ease on this. So ease none, because the default ease is going to do like a little bit of easing, and we want it to just look fluid. So we're going to say ease none. And then duration, let's give it a long duration, because he is zooming along right now. This is an
unsafe speed for our little corgi.
Yeah, very unsafe.
This is a school zone.
Turbo speed. So let's knock it down to like, let's say 10 seconds or something.
Is it seconds or milliseconds here?
It's seconds in the GSAP world. Yeah. Also, I can barely see your screen because of my Wi-Fi connection. So if you do typos, you are on your own. Like the chat's going to have to help you, because I can't.
All right, chat. That's
help Jason out with typos, because I literally can't.
I did forget to tell you, if you hover over the screen share, there's a kebab menu that'll let you copy an embed link. If you open that in a new tab, it will make the whole screen, it'll make it full screen, which is maybe a little easier to see as well. Hopefully.
Oh, wait, you're talking to me?
I was, yes.
I ignored that whole thing. I thought you were talking to the chat. Sorry.
There's a kebab menu on the shared screen in the call we're in right now, and you can open that in a new tab that it's going to let you copy embed link. That'll let you open just the shared screen in a full screen window, so you can see it a little bit better.
Let's try that.
Yeah, I'm off menu ordering kebabs. Okay. I see. We got our corgi. Good.
This is great.
Good. And so now we are drifting through space.
Drifting very casually through space. So we need to be like running. We want to do like the little corgi running thing. So let's do some legs animation.
Yep.
So I reckon, because we've got one element, right, we're going to target the group, like the legs group. And we kind of want those legs to like go around in like a little running motion. So that's going to go through a series of different steps for one object. And usually if you're animating something through a series of steps, you'd reach for a timeline with GSAP. But we also have keyframes, and they're really underutilized. And we've added some cool new additions in the last release. So let's do this with keyframes. We're going to do it with new keyframe syntax. So we're going to make another toTween. I'm going to say legs. I don't know whether it was an ID or a class. I'd love to say that it's consistent, but I'm not consistent. That's not one of my strong points.
ID legs.
Consistency. I take it back. Excellent. So we kind of want the legs to go like, let's think about the y-axis first. So we want them to go like up a little bit and then kind of pause in the middle and then down.
So up, right? Up. Like we want the motion.
We want that to go. So let's do some keyframes. So we're going to say, keyframes. We're going to do it in a keyframes block.
Right. Okay. So keyframe starts here. And then is this an array?
It's an object. And then we're going to do value-based, like array-based keyframes. So we can use y% again. So let's do y%. And then we're going to pass in an array. So that array is going to go, like we want the legs to go like up and then middle and then down and then middle and then back to the beginning again. So let's do the first value will be say like -10. And then we want to go back to the middle. So we'll say 0 and then 10. So that's down and then back to 0. Yeah. And then back to the beginning again. So -10.
Okay.
Awesome. So if let's run that.
Oh, I got to loop it.
Yeah. Oh, got to loop it. So
is that inside keyframes or outside?
After the keyframes block.
Okay.
I sometimes put all of my keyframes on one line, and that's like a little bit easier to read with the GSAT tween.
Oh, like in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. That'll be easier to read.
I can just about make out that it's like a long blurry blob instead of a horizontal.
Long blurry, yeah.
So let's see.
Oh, I forgot to add a comma. Here we go.
Yeah.
Look at him go.
Look at him go. Up and down. So awesome. We want to do the same for the x-axis. So let's copy those keyframes and we're going to do x% instead of y%. And that's just still in the same keyframes block.
Same values.
Oh, froze.
So I'm going to try these.
Back again.
Let's go straight up and let's see. Woo! Not quite right. All right. So have to get our values a little bit from here. I mean, this is kind of doing it though. Here we go.
Okay, I dropped out for a while, but that looks good. That looks really good. Awesome. So it's a little bit juddery, and that's because we can do easing in keyframes and also in the whole keyframe block. So inside the keyframes, let's define ease each. So after x%. So it's ease each. No. So
ease
each. Ease each, and then say none. And that's going to say like no easing in between each of the values that we've put into the keyframes. So each of the stops. And then we can also say ease none on the keyframe on the tween itself. So this is really cool because you can you can get like really granular with your easing.
That's great.
So awesome. Cool. We've got little legs going. That's great.
There it goes.
Let's do the same thing for the face.
Yeah.
So
okay,
yeah, we can basically just copy. Let's just copy that block, and we'll do the same thing. Do the same thing. I think we probably want the face to move like a little bit less than the legs though, because otherwise it's going to look like he's going to get a headache. It's going to be a bit intense. I'm guessing it's going to be a bit intense. Yeah.
Very Night at the Roxbury. Okay.
Yeah, it is. I kind of
So what do you think, like,
do you want to just leave it? Should we leave it like that?
It's extremely funny to me. So.
That looks fine. Cool. So rather than having a whole nother tween, let's just do the legs and the face like that. So where the target is, you can also pass in, you can pass in an array, or you can pass in a CSS selector. So
you can pass in an array.
Yeah, you can pass in an array of targets as well.
I did not realize that. Okay.
Yeah. But like I often just use CSS selectors, but yeah, you can pass in an array of targets too. So awesome. Yeah, he looks like he's moshing. It's like a little moshing corgi. Awesome. So this is fun, but like this is just animation, right? So let's get some interactivity in here.
He's running way too hard to be going this slow. We gotta speed him up just a little bit. There you go. Yeah, now you're cruising, buddy.
Yeah, that looks better. So I gave you a link to a little demo earlier.
Yes.
Like a little swipey boy. Not that one.
Which one do you want to look at first?
This one. So there's a lot of kind of full page swipey galleries out there. Like I see a lot of them on co-drops and on awards sites, and people are always coming into the Greensock forums going like, how do I build this with scroll trigger? But the problem is they're not actually using the scroll of the page. What they're looking for is the direction, like the intent that the user has. So they're looking for swiping or mouse events instead of actually scrolling down the page. So we noticed like a lot of people were looking for this. So we've added something to scroll trigger in the next release called scroll trigger observe. And it's basically like an intent observer. And it will give you feedback on what direction someone is trying to scroll in. So if you look at this, if you try and scroll down with your mouse.
Oh.
Oh.
That's cool. Because I'm doing like let me show y'all, because this is cool. So here's my little trackpad, and I'm just going up a little bit, right, down, right. Like there's not a lot going on here. Also, I think I just got my mouse into a loop. I did. I was touching the side, and that was causing problems. But yeah, so like one little touch up or down, and it moves around, and then tweaks out because I'm touching it. But this is really, really cool stuff.
So yeah, if you take a look in the code there, am I frozen again? I'm probably frozen. Let's just look in. I'm just going to carry on talking as if I'm not frozen. But yeah, if you look in the code, I can't actually see what's going on, but there should be like a on change Y or an on up, like scroll trigger observe somewhere. This looks like a whole timeline. There we go.
On up, on down.
Yeah.
Go to section.
So on up, we're kind of running through a GSAP timeline. And then on down, we're doing the same thing. So it's just really handy that you can, with scroll trigger now, we can like track those events really nicely. And obviously like across different devices, because it's not just mouse movement. It would also be like swiping on mobile and that kind of thing. So we're going to have a little play with this today. Also, the cool thing is that you can tap into like velocity as well. So we're going to tap into some velocity inside this.
All right.
So yeah,
all right. I'm ready.
Let's do it. Awesome. So right, we've got a little corgi. We should set up a an observe. So we're going to say scroll trigger dot observe.
Right, scroll trigger.
Yeah. So it's built on top of scroll trigger.
Okay.
And then we're going to pass in an object. And first of all, we're going to say type. So this is a comma delimited list of what to listen for. So we're going to say listen to wheel and touch and scroll and pointer.
Okay.
And then that's covering all the bases. And then let's say on change Y. So this is whenever there's a change, like a scroll or a swipe on the Y axis. And let's do an arrow function. And then in there, we can log out. Let's do console log, and we'll log out self.delta Y and self.velocity Y. We need to pass self in, actually, into the arrow function.
Is it the first argument, or is it like a destructured?
Yeah, that's perfect. So if we run that.
Okay, so it's running.
And then if you do a little scroll up and down, we've got some value.
So I'm going kind of soft, and then if I go harder, you can see the velocity goes way up. Softer, velocity is way down. And the delta is like I've moved 4 pixels up or something, or is that the value?
Yeah, so that's like the amount that you've scrolled, and then the velocity is the intensity that you're scrolling. So how hard you're trying to scroll up or down.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I like that it also like rolls off. So if I do like a 2-finger swipe and I kind of give it some oomph, my hands are up, but it's still like, right? Like it still kind of rolls off a little bit. So that's also a huge pain to do normally. This is just done for you. That I'm already excited.
Yeah, it's great. It is. I have to say, like this, the velocity value is a lot because it's just reporting what's actually happening. So if you've got like a touchpad or like a magic mouse, or you're on a mobile, it's going to do that nice easing thing. I have my colleagues got a really old mouse with a mouse wheel, and that obviously you don't get much velocity there because you're just clicking and it's just going click, click. So yeah, it's just reporting what is happening.
I was just thinking, I click down and then I drag up and down, and I'm also getting velocity values here. So that's pointer, I assume?
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you were to open it on mobile, you'd also get swiping values. So cool. Yeah, this is really great because it just normalizes all of those values and just automatically looks for all of the different types of inputs for you. And this is a thing that with my little Cassie on my website, my little face, I think like a lot of people get confused about like, okay, so I know that I can get input from a mouse, or I know I can get input from like where my cursor is on the screen, for instance, but how do I then change those values into something that I can use in an animation? So you can see that
how do we make you dizzy?
You move it really fast. Faster.
I mean, that's super fun. Okay. So we've got the ability to track this movement. We know direction up or down. We know the velocity. And so now we can start getting pretty like change Y, change X. We can start doing some pretty fun stuff here.
Yeah. So the main thing that we need to do is we need to transform these values into something that we can actually use. And now this is a thing that a lot of people don't know about GSAP. It's not just like animation stuff. Like we've got loads of kind of plumbing under the hood to help you work with values and help you kind of do all the stuff around animation that can be a little bit tricky. So scroll down like super hard and let's see what one of the biggest numbers is. Tell me what one of the biggest numbers is.
See, 22, 24, 25. Looks like I got up to 3,300, 3,500, 38, 4.
Those are kind of outliers, right? Should we go with like 2,200? If there are a lot of them.
When I scrolled really hard, it looks like I got up to about 15,000.
Oh, okay.
But we could we can probably go with, like 2,200 feels reasonable.
Let's go with that. And then we can change it if we have to. So there are utilities, and one of them is a clamp utility. So we're not going to do this inside scroll trigger observe. We're just going to set up a number transformer now. So
okay.
We'll pop this at the beginning of our code file, and we're going to say so you can say let's do a clamp. So say let clamp or const clamp. I'd never know which ones to. Nobody at me. I always use let just because it's shorter and I like how it sounds. So we've got clamp equals gsap.utils.clamp.
Okay.
And then we're going to put the lowest value. So because we can scroll up and down, we've got negative values and positive ones. So let's do minus 2,200 as the lowest, and then the highest is
2,200, right?
Yeah. Or was it 22,000?
Well, I think I got up to like 16,000, but if we clamp to 2,200 and 22,000, that just means if I scroll really hard, it won't go any higher than 2,200, right?
Yeah. So we can give those values a go. We can pop in some higher ones if it's not right. So yeah, let's have a little look where we're logging out the values rather than logging out. So self.delta-y. We're going to clamp that. So say clamp, and then we're going to put little brackets around it, and then we're going to say self.delta-y.
Or I think that's the velocity, right?
We're doing velocity even, sorry.
Okay, let's run it. And now when I'm going, everything's fine. Now I'm going to like really let it rip, and it sticks at 2,200.
Awesome.
No matter how hard I scroll.
So we're kind of clamping them into like a reasonable range. And that's just because like we don't really know what the highest number could be or the lowest number could be. And now we do. We know what the highest and lowest number could be. So we can kind of work with that a bit more. But we want to map this to something that we can use in animation. And that's still quite a big number, right? So what we want to do is we want to map those numbers to the numbers that we want to use. So say if we're doing rotation, let's do a rotation. A whole rotation is 360, right? So let's map these numbers to a rotation. And a really handy thing that we can do if we go back up to our clamp is we can do we can pipe different utility functions together and then just use the output. So let's do like const transformer.
Okay.
And then we're going to say gsap.utils.pipe.
Okay.
And then, and then make a new line. I think that will be easier.
And then is it like we're piping in, like we drop the clamp in first and then we have another function we can run?
Yeah. So then we can say gsap.utils.map range.
Map range.
Yeah. It's camel case. I don't know if you did camel case.
I did.
Squinted. You did. Awesome. So we're going to map that
It gets a little bit bigger. Okay.
which is 2200. You can see it's just pixels for me. And we're going to map that range to like minus 360 and then positive 360. Oh, so we have to do both.
Two arrays.
So we do minus. No, it's just round boys.
Round boys.
No square boys, just round boys. So we're going to say like minus. Yeah, that's the one. And then we're going to map that to. Hooray! Awesome.
Is it like 4? So 4 arguments total?
4 arguments. Yeah, that's the one. Awesome. So then we can use that in the same way that we've used clamp. So in there, we can say transformer and then the velocity.
Okay. Let's run it and see what we got. So now we're getting, if I crank it, we get 360 if I go up, negative 360 if I go down. And so that we can like have our corgi flip or something.
Yeah, so we can tie this into a rotation. We can do another. This is a new thing that's going to be in the next release. So I don't know if there's like people have used QuickSetter before. So we've got like GSAP tweens, but there's also ways to create more performant animations if you're updating a target lots of times. So like something on mouse move, you can use something that we've got called QuickSetter, and QuickSetter just it sets the value like immediately, and it does a lot of performance optimizations underneath the hood. But the tricky thing with that is it doesn't ease, it just automatically sets. So we've got a new thing called QuickTo, and QuickTo it does the same thing, but it also eases to the values. So we can set up like a rotation 2 before the observe, so outside, and let's say, okay, let's make a little rotation 2. So const rotation 2, and then it's gsap.quick2. QuickTo, yeah. And then we're going to pass in the target. So the target's going to be, I think it's just our corgi. Let me have a look. I think it's just.
So we have the SVG in a. Should I just pass in this SVG?
No, because I want to spin the corgi itself, which is inside the SVG.
ID corgi.
Yeah, corgi.
So we're going to go ID corgi. And then.
Awesome. And then we're going to say, so this is just in round boys. So there's 2 arguments. The first one is the target, and then the second one is the property that we're going to be targeting. So that kind of like, that helps do optimizations underneath the hood, because we don't have to constantly be looking at like what we're doing. So we're going to do rotation. It's basically like a little back door, like directly to the corgi's rotation.
Gotcha. So then if I'm inferring correctly, I can run rotation 2 and then put transformer self velocity y.
Yes.
And that means that using this QuickTo, we will rapidly set the corgi to whatever the value of our rotation is with easing, so that we get a nice smooth flip that doesn't bog down the computer.
Yes, that's exactly it.
I love it. Here we go. We're going to flip this corgi.
Yeah. He's flipping from his bum.
I love this. This is going to be a nonstop fountain of joy. Oh, and it sticks too. That's fun. Okay, great. So now I can like, and then back to center. Oh, this is great. I love it.
Oh, I feel really sorry for him. I think we need to set the transform origin for the corgi. So like,
I think you're probably right.
Just it looks really painful spinning around your bum like that. Let's do it with GSAP.
With GSAP, okay.
Yeah, with GSAP. So you can use GSAP set. So like right at the beginning of the file. Kind of tend to just do sets like right at the beginning. So we say GSAP set corgi, and then transform origin.
Is this as a
Object.
second and third argument? Object. Okay. Transform origin.
Transform origin.
I'm assuming canal case.
Yeah, and then we're going to say center. And the reason we're doing this in GSAP is because SVG's got a lot of weird bugs that GSAP works around. And if you set the origin in your CSS, you have to kind of mess around with fill box and other things like that, and it won't always work. So it's always good to set with GSAP. Awesome.
And if I like really crank it, we get 2 flips because all the way down is minus 360, all the way up is plus 360, which is actually 2 rotations to, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Awesome. So yeah, that's great. So what else can we do? Let's move them up and down as well.
Okay.
So we're going to do the same as our rotation 2, but we're going to do a Y value. So where the rotation 2 is, let's do like Y2. That's GSAP QuickTo.
I don't know why. Yeah. Okay. QuickTo. Corgi and just Y.
Y, yeah. And then the same for X as well. Oh no, wait, let's not. No, we're just doing Y. We'll do Y.
And down here, I've got a Y2. Now this isn't going to match up with the 360s, right? Or I guess we can just move it up and down 360 pixels.
We can do self.delta Y, and then let's have a little look at what that does. And then if we need to clamp that at all, then we can. Let's just have a little go.
Oh, I didn't do something right. Y2, QuickTo, corgi Y. We set it to self.delta Y. But it's not moving. Oh wait, there it goes. Oh, I just need a bigger delta Y, I think.
Oh, awesome. So you just needed to like
killing me. But yeah, I gotta crank it a little bit more to get
awesome. So we've got it working. I think I froze
very
again.
Good.
Good. Brody wants attention. Say hi. Where are you? Come here. Dog. I don't know whether you can see him. He's just on my lap. Cool. So what should we do next? We've got the up and down movement working. We've got like a little rotation.
Wakos in chat is requesting that the rainbow tail gets added.
Pooping rainbows, yes. Okay, so we have actually got some rainbows in there. So let's do a rainbow. Let's do a rainbow butt explosion. So const rainbow butt explosion. I think I've killed Jason.
All right.
Cool. So let's do, I think at the moment they're hidden. So let's do a little timeline. Yeah, so let's do gsap.timeline.
And that's are we targeting the rainbow here?
We're not going to pass anything into that. We're just going to use that to sequence some animations. So then on the next line,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. On the next line, we're gonna say rainbow butt explosion dot 2.
Good.
And then we're gonna target the rainbow rectangles. So I think
rainbow rect.
I think there's an ID of rainbow, and then it's the rectangle. Yeah. And then we're going to say opacity 1. And I'm making this as a timeline because I want to use this later. Like I want to be able to control when this timeline plays. And so I kind of, we're setting it up like this so that we can have a bit more control over it in a bit. And then let's animate the rainbow as well. So we've actually got, I set it up so that there's 4 or 5 like little blocks. And we want to like move them up and down. So let's do a from to. So GSAP, not GSAP, sorry, we're dot from to, because you can chain them. So
this is going to be rainbow rect.
But if you get rid of the semicolon at the end of the previous 2, then we're just going to chain those. So they're going to be on the same timeline.
Gotcha. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. And then we're doing a from to here, and we're going to say, we're going to do some functional values. So we're going to say from, and from to, we're going to pass in 2 different objects. This is our first object. So this is our like from values. Oh, you don't need to put from, sorry. We're going to put Y%.
Y%.
Y%. And then we're going to do an arrow function.
Okay.
And because there's multiple of these, we're going to get the index value, and then we're going to use that to shuffle them up or down.
Is the index the first argument?
Yeah. So put index, and then in our arrow function, we can probably do. We kind of want to check if it's odd, then we want to animate from the position up at the top, and if it's even, we want to animate from the bottom. So I guess we could do a ternary to check if it's odd or even.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can do that. Index.
I like indexed thought. Yeah, modulus 2.
Modulus 2 is what I was trying to do.
Yeah, modulus.
Okay, so now I've got a ternary.
Awesome. So then let's say like -5. And if it's not, then we'll do +5.
Okay, so I need to return this.
Yeah, awesome. Good job there. I'm glad. I was like completely blanking on how to do if something's odd or even. So then, 2, we're going to do the opposite of that.
Okay, Y%, and I'll just copy this actually so that we can go faster.
Yeah.
And we'll say +5 or -5, right?
That's awesome. So let's play that. Let's see what happens.
Dot play, right?
Just oh no, it'll play automatically. We haven't paused it, so so if we just press run.
Okay,
awesome.
It's not looping, but it did the thing.
It's not looping. So with from twos, when you can use them just like normal like GSAP tweens. Oh, he's disconnected from his butt rainbow. That's no good. So the Y value, we want to make sure we're moving the whole SVG. So let's go down to our observer.
Y2 should be SVG instead.
SVG, yeah. And then he'll stay connected to his bum rainbow. Yeah. Cool. So if we go up to our from to tween,
Okay.
and put more arguments in the second block. So in the two, the second one, the two block. So we can say like duration and repeats.
Okay. So
Duration, I think the duration was fine actually. That looked good to me. So let's do repeat. Let's just repeat it a few times. I want it to have an
few
end.
times.
Yes. Oh, let's do like 10. A few. 10 works. Yeah.
Off it goes.
Yeah. Awesome. We need a better ease on that.
It's a little chunky.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't look like it's. Let me run this again. It looks like it's kind of looping.
Jerking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's because it's playing from the beginning and then getting to the end and then playing to the beginning again. So we need to yo-yo it.
Okay.
So
And is that just like yo-yo true?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
See, that is such an intuitive name for what this is. I guess if you've ever seen a yo-yo before. So good.
Yeah, so that's
but then
yo-yo.
we need to like ease none because it's a little catchy.
That's the one.
Here we go. This is gonna be perfect. Look at that rainbow go.
Smooth. Super smooth.
Awesome.
I love it. What I want to do is like after the rainbow's finished, we're gonna add another tween onto that timeline just to fade the rainbow out.
Okay.
So just like another two, and then just opacity. We're gonna fade it out.
Right, and now that will just kind of do it on its own, right? If I set it to opacity 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we run that.
And 10. And it's gone.
Sweet. So I kind of want that as like a power up.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
So yeah, we've got all of our corgi movement in. This is awesome. But then I woke up at like 5 a.m. and I was like, we could make it a game. Because originally I was just like, yeah, we can move the little corgi up and down. That'll be fun. But yeah, let's like add some food. Let's add some food for him and then do some hit testing.
Yes. Okay, I'm ready.
Awesome. So first of all, let's make a function that just adds some food into the DOM. So we'll create a function that's just add food. Oh, look, he's just like dancing vertically.
Let's get him doing a wheelie.
Just having a little party.
So rainbow food and then poops the rainbow. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that is about right. Awesome. So how do we add an element to the DOM? We have to create an element first, don't we? So Twitter said that we have to feed him lollipops. So I guess lollipop or food. We can do food is shorter.
Okay, and this is going to be like, what are we throwing here? Is it
like a div or a span? I reckon.
Okay,
Doesn't have any semantic meaning. It's just lollipop.
And then am I just putting in the emoji here?
Yeah. So just adding in the emoji. Okay. Yeah, awesome. Let's we want to style it as well. So let's add a class.
And what should we call the class?
I think I had bone in, but people want lollipop, so we can just swap that out.
Oh, quit jumping. lollipop.
Lollipop.
Okay. And then add it.
Yeah.
And
so
should I add
maybe
this
we could do it like
to the container?
Container, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so
just
container.
We have the container up here already? No. Okay. So we'll get the container. Close document, query selector, and we'll get the container. And then down here, we can container, append child, and we'll put in food. Okay, so let's save that.
Awesome.
Let's run it. And we should get a lollipop. Where's my lollipop?
Where is it? Inspect the DOM.
Here we go. All right, let me close this down. I'm going to get over in here. And what we should see is inside the container, it definitely did not add. Okay, so it's, oh, we didn't call the function is why.
Genius.
That's one way to make sure your code doesn't run. Okay, so let me add food.
Why don't we do like an event listener, like a window dot add event listener and like a mouse up or a click or something, and then add food.
Oh, okay, so window dot.
Hey, there it is.
So that works, and so we're adding a add event listener, and the event listener is, you wanted mouse up.
Yeah, let's do mouse up.
Okay.
And then we'll just call.
Move that in there.
Sweet.
So now, if I run this, it shouldn't show our food at first, but when I click, there it is.
Yes. Awesome. Cool. So the thing here is that if we add food, they're always just going to be like right in the middle. So we want to position this in a different place each time. And we've got, again, we were looking at some of the GSAP utilities a little bit earlier, but there's the one that I use the most is random, and it just gives you a random number. There's all sorts of different like ways that you can like tell GSAP, I want a random number between these two numbers, or I want a random number between these two numbers snapped to a certain increment. So let's do in our add food function underneath, we're going to say gsap.set
after it's appended.
Yeah. So we're going to say gsap.set and then bone or lollipop. No, it's not a bone anymore, is it? It's a lollipop. Awesome. Oh, wait, we won't do the class though, because otherwise that's going to look for all of them. So we want to pass in the variable. Is it just food?
Got it as food, yeah. So gsap.set food, and then we want to set probably the vertical placement.
Yeah, so we want to do the left position and the right position because it's absolutely positioned at the moment. Come up, bud. It's okay. Good boy. So yeah, let's do left. And then we're gonna say actually, let's make the left position always right on the right hand side, because then we can move them towards us. So let's say left position is always like window.inner width.
Okay, yeah, that's easier than what I was doing. Window.inner width. Okay. And then top, we want a random, right?
Yeah.
gsap.utils.random.
Yep, gsap.utils.random. And then we're going to say we don't want it to be all the way off the top of the screen. So let's just do a magic number. Let's say like 50, like 40, 50 pixels down from the top of the screen. Okay. And then window inner height, and then that's minus 50 off that as well. So that's like not all the way down at the bottom, be almost down at the bottom. And then we can snap to a particular like point as well. So we could say like every 5. So if you do comma.
Oh wait, so hold on, because inner width means that it's going to be actually pushed off because the left-hand side is like the left of it is here. So
that's
minus.
true. What did you have before? Was it just 100%?
I was doing like 90%, but let's try
90%.
minus 50 maybe. Let's see what that does.
Well, we could do 90%. That also makes sense. Yeah, awesome.
Well, actually, here's a question: Are we planning on animating these?
Yes.
Because then we do want them to be all the way from the left, right? So that they kind of start off screen and then fly in.
Let's just keep them here for now so we can check that our function is working. If you click again, does it pop one in a different place? Yes.
Different spots.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
I love it.
We've got loads of lollipops. This is brilliant. Okay, cool. So we know that it works. So let's put them all the way off again. Like, let's do window and a width or 100%.
Done.
Cool.
Now if I click, they're happening, but they're off screen.
And then, so underneath this GSAP set, we're going to do a little animation. We're going to say GSAP 2. And we're going to animate the bone again, or the food. I keep thinking it says bone. Food, and
we'll
then
say like left.
We don't want to animate left, so we were using left for positioning, which is what we wanted, but we don't want to animate left because that's going to be not very performant. So we want to be animating the X position.
The X, okay.
Yeah, transforms always for animation. And then we want to animate, I guess, window inner width again. So we want that to be minus though. So times -1. And then that should animate all the way across.
Wouldn't that pull it like double the length off the screen?
No. Oh, because we're not using X% here, we're using X. So we're just working in like pixels now, not percentages.
So do you want me to do X%?
No. We want to do X. X% won't work in this case. It works the whole width of the screen for the background because the background is the whole width of the screen. So it's X% is relative to the thing itself. So if we did X% on the food, it would only be relative to how wide the actual lollipop is. So it would move it like one lollipop's width instead of a window. Yeah.
Okay. And then we need to add like an extra minus 100 or something to make sure it goes all the way up screen. So let's do that. And now, pew, pew, pew. Okay, this is way too fast, but it's cool. Like, this is super fun. All right, I'm going to make this slower. So we'll give it like
all I can hear is like chaotic robot noises and like flying lollipops. That was like pure chaos.
Oh wait, I broke it. Why isn't this working?
Oh, because you've used
3,000 seconds. That's
the slowest.
Here they come
in the whole world ever.
You see them chat. Okay, all right. Maybe not the most challenging game here. All right, try again.
I mean, it would be challenging. You'd get tired, wouldn't you? Awesome.
Okay, so here we go. I think we probably want the ease to none again.
Yeah.
So they are in space, unaffected by friction. We don't believe in physics out here.
Also, for the random positioning of them on the y-axis, we're getting a lot that are almost exactly similar. So let's pass in a third value there. Let's say like 5 or 10, and then that's going to say like between those two values, just give us values back like every 5 or every 10. So we should get like less positions, but it should be a little bit more spaced out. That's good. Awesome.
It's fun.
Got loads of flying lollipops.
And now we can, have our corgi kind of fly around.
That's great. So yeah, what I realized we could do is we can do hit tests. So I've included Draggable, which is another GSAP plugin. And one thing that Draggable has is when you're dragging elements around, you can like detect to see if it's over something, because usually people want to drag something, say, into like a menu, and when it hits the menu, they want to be able to drop it. So there was this hit test detection that we had in Draggable, but you can actually use it statically as well, so you don't have to be dragging something. So I might just have to like double checking some syntax, because I don't use Draggable that much. So yeah, we're going to write a function to check whether there's been a hit. So we'll call it, I don't know, what should we call it? We're checking if there's check hit.
Check for snacks.
Yeah, check for snacks. Awesome. So let's just log out, like console log, and we're going to do Draggable with a capital D dot hit test. And then the first parameter we're passing in is the SVG. So I think we've got that already in a variable. And then we're going to check for an element, just like a random element.
Any lollipop?
Yeah, well, we could do that. Let's do that first, actually. So we'll check for any lollipop, and then we'll call that function, and then let's just open the console and see what happens.
Now, is this going to like continue to fire, or do we need to call this in a loop to get it to?
That is very true. It needs to be called on like an update. So what we need to do, okay. Rather than looking for any lollipop, let's look for a specific one.
Okay, so like put it in.
And then we'll
here?
pass it in. Yeah. And then in the tween where we're moving the bone, I keep saying bone, we're moving the lollipop. So where's our tween for the food? Yeah, that's the one. So the GSAP2 food one, where we're moving them along. At the bottom, we're going to put an on update. So this is just a callback, camel cased again. Yeah, we can do an arrow function. And then this just calls while that's animating.
Okay. And so then I can just call check for snacks food in here.
Yeah.
And we've already got food because it's in the parent scope.
Awesome.
And so that should just work, right?
That should just work. Let's see.
Famous last words, but let's find out. Okay, so I think we hit it. Did we ever get there?
False. Get it.
I think we got it. We got it. I saw it. True. Is this letting us know the
true?
Yeah, here we go. So we got some hits. Okay.
We got some hits. I think we're still logging something else out.
Yeah, we're still logging the velocity, I think.
Awesome. And then this is good because when we know that we've got the hit, we can actually remove that from the DOM. That's
got it. Okay, so then we can say food dot is it detach?
I think you can use remove nowadays.
Food dot remove.
We're not in Internet Explorer, so we can just do.
Let's try it. Where is it? Did I break something?
Oh, it's because we're trying to do that on update. We need to do that after it's got the snack. So that needs to be in there. Let's fade it.
If
yeah, that's the one.
Okay, so that'll actually work, maybe.
That will yeah, we were just
Actually
removing
work,
it
maybe,
immediately
is
it
my...
started moving. Like it started animating and we were just getting rid of it.
Got it.
Yes. Oh, this is so good. This is so gloriously chaotic. Look at him.
Okay. So then the last thing we need to do is play this. We've got 3 minutes. So the last thing we need to do is play this rainbow, right?
Yes. Yes, that is the last thing.
And so I need to pause it, or...
So let's do, if you go up to the rainbow, where is the rainbow?
Here's our rainbow butt explosion.
So we want to do GSAP timeline. In the timeline itself, in the round boys, GSAP
in the round boys.
Yeah, we're going to do an object and we're going to say paused true.
Okay, so then we're going to get our rainbow butt explosion, go down to here, which is where something has happened, and then can I just do a dot play?
Do a dot restart. I usually do a dot restart because that will always go to the beginning and play.
Okay.
So let's have a little look. Have we really got 3 minutes? Yeah, that worked!
Oh my God. Okay, so we've got...
We made a game.
I mean, this is incredible. Like we did so much in such a short time. And yeah, so there's our corgi butt explosion going. This is just so good. Like, it's everything about this is fun. We were able to make a corgi flying through space. It's animated, looks like it's running. We've got these lollipops being added. We've got the effect whenever you eat one of the lollipops. Like, this is so much fun. But I know I want to be mindful. We're out of time. So for somebody who wants to learn more, we'll be sharing this code pen for you to reverse engineer, play with, do whatever you want. Where else should people go for more information?
If you are getting started with GSAP and you have questions, we hang out in the forums all the time, like on the GSAP forums. So yeah, we'll be in there to help you. I've got a little SVG animation Slack, which I can give to Jason to share.
Is that going to be, am I going to be able to find this?
It's a little bit sneaky and secret, but you can come and hang out. And then, yeah, I don't know, just there's all sorts of places. I think the best way to learn is by tinkering. So I would say, like, get on CodePen. There's been some past CodePen challenges with GSAP. So there's like loads of examples and stuff. Follow Jay. Jay makes loads of really fun things that are really good for beginners, and he's done an episode on your stream before, hasn't he, Jason?
Yes. Nope, that's not the right one. Where's Jay? Oh, two Y's. There we go. Yes, we have this. And then if you head over to Learn with Jason and you hit Command K and you search animation, you're going to find Jay, you're going to find Sarah, you're going to find Cassie, you're going to find Eli. A lot of good content around animation. Yeah, this is a really fun one with splitting. Here's today's episode. We've got Scott Talinsky talking about animation. So basically just head over and look for animation. And I think we might even have, do I have like a tag animation? Because that would be easy to share. Tags animation? Maybe not. Nope. Okay. Anyways, go to the site and search for it. You'll find it.
Also, like, literally just hit me up if you are wanting to learn and you want links or you want help or you want someone to go over your pen. Like, it's my job. I love that it's my job, but it's my job, so I will happily help you.
Wonderful. All right. So with that, we are officially over time. So chat, stay tuned. We're going to go find somebody to raid. Cassie, any parting words for everybody?
Not for me. No, just have fun, and I'll see you all soon.
All right. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today, Cassie. This was an absolute blast. As always, we had a lot of fun. Chat, thank you for hanging out with us today, and stay tuned. We're going to go find somebody to raid. We will see you all next time.